Hey guys, this is Ganesh Singaram, just reaching back out after a couple of videos I just released, but I just wanted to kick something up, change it up a little bit for you guys to hopefully get some useful information. But what I'm going to do today, I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm just going to go straight for mixing a kick drum, snare, and bass. Do a little bit of EQing, compression, creative effects. But what I'm actually doing is using a track from someone from India, a record label, who just sent me some stuff to just sort of work with for a YouTube tutorial. So if you guys got more songs that you want me to mix, I'd rather mix that than the other songs that I'm working on. Just to give a more realistic example. But this song is by the label Strangers Lost Paradise. I'll put the description and all the links below. Very much appreciated, and thank you for sending me something to work with and show people around the world what we can do. But let's get stuck into it. I'm going to talk too much during this intro. Let's just go into a video example. Firstly, when I get the track, I just organize it into a situation where I've got the drums at the top, followed by main percussion, bass, other main melodies, going down into the little bits. That sort of happens. So first thing when I do when I get a track, organize it, color code it the way I want. Usually I start with the drums, go down, usually a darker tone, do whatever tickles your fancy. Usually vocals, because there's no vocals in this track, I just made the main melody sort of bits pink, and I keep all the little sound effects at the bottom. Main reason is I can follow a workflow that I can deal with at the start, to deal with the main elements first, and then go down to this little thing. That shouldn't bother me right now. These are the main components. Also, what I do is I strip silence or get rid of regions that are not necessary, so I can actually see what's going on. So if something happens here, at bar 65, I go, okay, cool. I know exactly what's going on there. Or a little sound effect pops up here. Where the hell did that come from? I know it's here. Rather than having this sort of situation. Looking at that non-highlighted can be a little bit tricky. Little quick things to keep you from being so technical and just being creative. That's the idea of what I try to do, is get rid of all the boring shit at the start, and then you can just focus in on just being creative. So obviously I color code, organize the tracks, I strip silence or remove stuff that doesn't need to be there, because that takes up processing power. Another thing is to find the tempo of the song. So this song I clocked out by tap tempoing it at 92 BPMs. The reason for that, which is why it's so crucial, is because if you don't get your delays in time, it's going to sound really messy. So make sure your tempo of the track has been set to the track tempo. Simple, but I'm going to bore you with this. Hopefully, if I bore you enough with it, you will just keep doing it, and it becomes standard practice. And then the next video, I don't have to do it, but I'm going to keep doing it anyway. Next thing I do is I grab all the tracks and I pull it down by 6 dB. The reason for that is because I'm going to punish the hell out of this track. I'm going to compress it, I'm going to EQ it, I'm going to add parallels. If I start at 0, if I start at the ceiling, I've got no space to move. So what's the point of that? So I give myself a little bit of leeway so I can push it, because I know I'm going to push the shit out of this. So I just grab all the tracks and just pull them down by 6 dB. I've done some basic stuff here, nothing crazy. Literally, I got this song yesterday, listened to it today after work. Really just focusing on the drums to sort of the main elements, or the other little bits won't focus on today, just so I can show you some examples. Did some basic panning, nothing crazy. But what I'm going to show you is I'm going to work through the drum process, working with the kick, working with the snare, and then doing a bit of creative sort of mixing as well with it. So with that being said, mind your ears, I'm just going to play the track. So what I've done is just looped up a section of the track. I'm going to make the audio files look bigger. Like, check this out. If I didn't do this, I left it to normal, there's some little things, like, what the hell's going on here? Pad 2, can't even see it. But if I expand the waveform view, suddenly I can see what's going on. That makes more sense to me than this. So I'd rather just get that shit crazy for now. Even though it looks distorted and like really loud, it's not. It's just for me to visually grab quickly. So, as I said, mind your ears, and let's just have a listen to the track so far. I'm just showing you sort of the foundations of what these guys have done. Strangers Lost Paradise. Check them out. Here we go again. All right, I'm just going to focus in on the kick, snare. This is like a main glitch part. Won't focus on just yet. All right. I suddenly get a bit of a vibe from that hi-hat bit, so creativity, I'm going to use that. Check out the bass. Check out this bass pad. Pretty much the groove of the track. And let me add this. Alright, bit of piano over there. We'll do some stuff with that. Next, top line effect. If you guys didn't recognize what I just did, if you can't hear the shit, turn it up so your ears can understand what's going on, and then take it from there. Really good trick, because sometimes when you've got 100 tracks, you don't know what the hell's going on. But what I'm just going to focus on right now is the kick and snare. So I haven't mixed this track before. I just heard it, but I'm just going to go through a process that I normally do. Hopefully it works, and you can get some cool examples on, but I'm just going to show you quick stuff to do. Different plugins, different, little tricks. Once again, I said hopefully it works. Here we go. All right, kick. It's obviously a program kick. Sounds good. I'm just going to get this a little bit more tighter and a little bit more focus. So now I'm using an API Waves plugin, a 550B, really cool plugin. I'll go through different plugin settings and what all this stuff means. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get the drums bigger. So I'm going to boost 75 Hertz to add that oomph. I'm going to cut 300 Hertz to take away that bit of air factor that I don't like. 800 Hertz, a little bit more the air factor that I don't like. And I'm going to add 2.5K as a shelf at 4K. So what I'm doing now is I'm sucking the air out of that kick drum and making it tight by removing these frequencies and adding some low end like presence and some top end click. This top end click will crack through a lot of speakers, even your iPhones. So don't discourage using this frequency. So I'm going to start with it off. So I'm going to take this out. I'm going to play the track. And then I'm going to put it in. And then you guys judge the difference. Mind your ears, yeah? Just in case. All right, so quick examples, but it's almost, what I'm trying to draw your ear to is, you can have that kick drum sounding like it's being a part, like it's almost being bounced on a cement surface compared to like sucking all that stuff out and making it really tight. This is just one process that I'm using. So obviously you will notice it get tighter and the thickness come up. But this is just one part of what I'm doing. So if I get back to it, yeah, all right, cool, sounds all right. Let me just mess with it a little bit more. So from here, I'm going to duplicate the track. So I've got a direct copy of it with the audio file. Beauty of this later is I can treat different sections differently by just, muting that or, going to a bit where maybe I like it there out, but here in, I'm going to unmute it. So suddenly I'm like doing a bit of production work, but whilst mixing. Don't get caught up in that, just in case. But that's something later I'll show you. So right now I've got an API EQ, which is very snappy, very cool EQ by Waves, but it's straight to the point. So I'm just sort of tailoring the sound into pulling it into where I need to. So I'm just sucking out the frequencies that I don't want to introduce and introducing the punch and the crack factor. I usually say crack factor a lot, but whatever. Just going to mute this kick drum. I'm going to add another kick drum track. For this one, I'm going to boost 100 Hertz by 4 dB. I'm going to cut 500 Hertz by 6 dB. I'm going to cut 800 Hertz by 4 dB. And I'm going to go a little bit more cracky. That's a good thing to recommend. So the idea for this track is I'm adding a lot more low-end presence, and I'm sucking out those basketball frequencies I don't need and adding a little bit more crack. Don't tell your dealers about the shit, but I'm just going to add it in. So what I'm going to start off with is bypass it, and then I'm going to add it in. But the thing is, just focus on this sound, not the sound I did before. Here we go. I'm hoping you can hear that shit. So what I've just done is just gutted the bad frequencies out of that and pulled in just the good frequencies that I need. But the idea is I'm not just using this track in solo. I'm going to combine it with the track before. I'm going to do something else after it and another little thing. Notice I haven't even touched on compression yet. I'm using EQ to sort of manipulate the sound into the way I want. So this is me pulling a kick drum apart and then putting it back together in a way that's working with the track. It's a bit of a tricky one. You can really F it up or you can make it work. But I'm just going to show you little tricks like this to hopefully not F it up. And here we go. So if I go over to this page, I've just muted or pulled down the fader, and let's listen to the normal kick that I've EQ'd at different settings. So here we go. This is the first kick drum. This is the second kick drum. Without. Now let me introduce the second kick drum. All right, as soon as I get it past, what, minus 15, you can feel the sub frequencies kick in a little bit more, which is what you're noticing here. The thing is, I'm not reintroducing these frequencies here because I've taken them out. I've gutted 800 Hertz by 9 dB. I've gutted 500 Hertz by 6 dB. So I'm controlling what I'm adding back in. Let's try it without again. All right. So obviously there's a few things I need to keep going ahead with, but I'm going to release a phase relationship video that you need to follow in order to do this stuff correctly. The thing is, if you don't understand phase relationships, you're going to get way out of hand. But let me not get carried away because you don't want to spend too much time on that. I'll show you a quick example if it's in phase or out of phase. Here we go. Phase button, symbol. Does it get louder? Does it get more low end? Does it see more focus when I push this in or out? Obviously, it's in phase. It's out. You have to remember that when you're working with plugins, working with digital processing, there is delay compensation that needs to happen. So sometimes the waveforms don't line up the way you want. So you need to check phase relationships all the time. You know, if it was reversed and you're listening to this shit, let me go back to that. If you heard that, you're going to go like this. Boom. Give me this. Boom. You know, you're not going to do that. All you have to do is just press this and you're back to normal. If you're not understanding that, maybe your room has some issues, which is another video about. But anyway, let's keep going. So let's listen to it without and with. All right, kick sounds all right. Let's put it just quickly see what goes on. All right, I know you guys are probably thinking, what the hell? But what I'm going to do now, is going to get a little bit more local. And I'm going to duplicate this track again. No inserts. I'll figure that out later when I get into mixing it. Now I've got three things going on. I've got the original kick drum, which I've EQ'd differently. I've got the second kick drum, which I have EQ'd differently, and check phase. But now what the hell am I going to do with this bad boy? I'll show you. Another thing by Waves, awesome company. If you don't know about it, you need to get into it. SSL channel. I'll show you a preset that will save your life. The next shit sounds really good. Kick drum. Boom. Oh, did I just save you like 20 minutes? So, what this is going to add, it's going to add some really cool low end. You're sucking out the frequencies you don't need. So here, I'm boosting, what's that, 58 hertz. This is just from the preset. This is not me. This is Waves. Cutting out, you know, about 270 hertz, which is that basketball frequency that I was mentioning before. Over here, boosting 3.7 to give you that crack. And I'm going here about 5.9K at 9 dB, which is pretty crazy. So all you're gonna hear is just like kick drum that's like pounding, but also gives you so much attack. That attack, these two frequencies here will make it cut through on little tiny little headphones, to bigger headphones, to bigger speakers, to those big bad boys. The idea, not everyone listens to these big bad boys. You need to figure out how to get that little thing coming out on that iPhone. Or, sorry, it's not a product placement, but on that phone. This is just a third duplicated track. Without. You probably listen to it again, dude, I like the other one better because it had more low end. But that's not what I'm using this track for. I'm using this track in a particular way to introduce particular frequencies into my kick drum spectrum where it's going to fill in that space. So I've got one track pushing here, I've got one track pushing here, and one track pushing there. I cover all ranges from big studio speakers to clubs to home systems to iPhones to laptops to whatever. I got you covered. But you mix it in a way that's tasteful, that's pleasant. Do you know what I mean? So you mix for a particular type of sound system, but you also need to make sure you tick all the other boxes. So if I show you the mix again, get rid of that. So let me leave these plugins on just in case you guys want to see it. I'm going to go in order, and then I'm going to blend it in order as well. Obviously I've got some compression going on here. I'm not really messing with that too much right now. I'm just going quick. So let's start with this. First track, original track. Now let me mix in this bad boy. So what this is going to introduce, what I want your ears to get drawn to, is a top end crack that is going to add that presence and that snap to that kick. Getting too much crack over here. All right, so I'll just turn on a little bit of the crack. Too much crack is not always good. It's in moderation. But let me show you this kick drum, how it started. But what I'm going to do is I'm just, it's not mixed at all. I'm just going to put all this stuff in. and take these out. And during this example, you can turn your speaker down all the way as I add these things in, and then you can increase it. So when I add that last track in with the SSL, EQ, and compressor, turn it all the way down as much as you can, and just really listen. Can you hear that kick drum? That click is what you're going to hear. And your brain will fill out the rest, and you go, yeah, I know there's a kick there, I know there's a snare here. So it's all about like tricking the listener, man. So let's go. So remember, that's the example of the original kick drum without the EQ. Okay, hopefully you heard that. Even brought out my little red spotlight thing if you didn't see what I was doing. But now I'm just going to introduce this one at a time. I'm going to leave the plugins on. Hopefully you got the settings. But I'm just going to introduce it and you feel what it adds to the track. All right, I'll let that low end API EQ kick in there. Now, this is the time for you to turn down the crack or turn the crack up. Not promoting shit, but just let's have a listen there. All right, this is an example. I'm going to turn down the low end here on that SSL track, which is the third track here. And watch, I'm going to go nuts. It will be a crack fiend. Check it out. Turn your speakers down as much as you can, and I'll just play this example through. You'll notice what I'm talking about. You'll hear that kick click through like freaking crazy. So what I'm showing you is like something, where the kick go? And then to a point where it's like, oh man, you hear it. Imagine like hearing that from like a cafe speaker, like, you know, when you eating your smashed avocados and eggs and paying, you know, $20 in the freaking city or whatever. Imagine hearing that stuff. You know exactly what's going on. And all you've done is just introduce this track, and it might be too loud right now, but I just want you to focus in on that sound. Let me show you again exactly what's going on. And I'm going to introduce the crack and take the crack out. You know what? Screw it. I'm going to go extreme. Turn your speakers all the way down if you haven't. If you know, I don't know. Why not? Why not do it? And then tastefully, turn volume back up. Okay, yeah, cool. So just realize that you can make a person get drawn into that sound, you know, because we know there's usually kick, snare, right? So as soon as your ear gets drawn to that factor, that there's a kick there, you will subconsciously fill out that rest of that spectrum. I know there's a snare there. What I need to give you is a little bit of a, and you're there. So this will cut through anything. And as I said, use it tastefully. I was going to show you sub, but I think, yeah, I might leave that for later. But I'll just show you, because I don't want to leave you out and shit. I'll show you like a little cool production trick that I use. Let me go to my edit page in Pro Tools. And I'm going to show you like a rough example. So say this section, track's not that cool, not that interesting. This section, I want to build up a little bit. And then it kicks in. So from bar 29 over here, I've got my original kick drum, which I've treated. This is a little bit of a production thing. Then from bar 29, 31, I've just muted all this stuff. Then as the track progresses, I can naturally build up how the track progresses by the kick sounds building up. And I'm just using this on the kick. Imagine what I get up to next time. Then I add the crack in, and then I add the full frequency spectrum. So if I was to just loop this, you will hear the kick drum going from normal. Yeah, that sounds cool. That sounds big. And then it goes, oh, a little bit of something there. And then boom, I hit you in a section. So I can do this on a chorus. I can do this on whatever. I'm not even using parallels or compression at this point. I haven't even touched it. But have a listen. I can make you feel a certain way just by using that kick drum example. And I've just duplicated the producer's kick drum to give it a different feel. So the idea of what I just did is just, I've just replicated what the producer had and made little adjustments just with EQ, with a particular type of EQ. In this instance, I've just used the APIs and SSL. Haven't even touched on the pull text, the VEQs, all this other shit that we could be using. So what I'm trying to do is get you into a sort of stage where just by using simple techniques like this, you can get your kick drum sounding huge. And then wait till I touch in on the compression. Wait till I touch it in on the sub frequency kick drum, man. Shit. Sorry, I get big excited. Sorry. This is part 1 of a video tutorial. The next thing I'm going to do is a snare and do a little bit of creative mixing and give you a little bit more on how to punch a snare. But if you like it, you know what to do. If you don't like it, I'm still here doing the same shit anyway. So, all right, guys, this is Ganesh Singaram from Ganesh Studio Productions. And hopefully see you guys very, very soon.